You know, the last time I was here, you had in the front gallery, you had all these amazing landscapes. They were so beautiful. And now I come in and you've got this whole different medium, this whole different feeling going on when you come in. And I love watching the evolution of your work. I just like being in your space. So tell me a little bit about, do you do a lot of work here in the studio?
Yeah, I do a lot of work in the studio. I travel quite a bit. I do a lot of personal projects.
Right.
So it constantly evolves. Landscape I've shot forever. I mean, that's just part of who I am. But I think it's also part of everything else that I do. Like I can incorporate all of that, whether it be a wedding, like they're grand. A lot of my wedding stuff are these grand landscapes with someone in it. And you're like, and that's their wedding portrait, and
Right.
that's what my clients are looking for. I'm only putting out work, honestly, that I like.
I love that.
It's stingy,
I love that.
and I get called out for it sometimes, but it's true, and I'm not gonna lie. It's like, I do it for me. I do what makes me happy, and if those clients come to me, I only do 10 weddings a year.
Right.
I only do 10 to 15 portraits a year, and that's it. And maybe a commercial job or two. And that's it. That supports me. I put a price on my stuff that supports me for the year.
But you're drawing the
Allows me
right
to
clientele.
Well, yeah, because I'm drawing the clientele that loves what I do.
Right.
Period. They don't ask me to do anything else other than just be Parker.
Right.
You're turned
So
loose.
what you're saying
it makes
is
me happy.
you don't get a shot list? So talk a little bit about your space. I know that you do a ton of stuff out on location. You do a lot of stuff outdoors.
Well, like the stuff on the wall here is from a series called Natural Grace, and it's all about being born from the earth, and it's being about raw. It's about one's connection to the earth. It's about no barriers. It's about freedom. It's about whatever you want it to be about. I make it for me. I have an idea. I know what it means to me, but it's more important to the viewer, because these are all stories that I write. Like, photography isn't anything unless you have an idea. Like, this doesn't matter. Medium doesn't matter unless
Right.
you have an idea. If you don't have an idea, light doesn't even matter. It just doesn't. So that's always the first step for me, is kind of coming up with the concept, the idea, or at least the feeling that I want to evoke from the image. So that's kind of where I start, and then I build from there. And like the last 5% of the whole process is this thing, or this thing, or whatever you're using.
That's such a different perspective than I think a lot of photographers take, right? Because they get into the business, they love photography, they love creating, and then
Gotta
they
have
get
the
into the
newest gear.
business, and then they forget to develop the craft and to really push that because they're so busy running a business, right?
Yeah.
So you've kind of flipped that around. You do what you love, you create these amazing images that people desire, and your business flows from that, right?
Yeah. So this is the production area. This is where the magic happens.
Wow.
Or the craziness. It's a total disaster at this point.
It doesn't look like much of a disaster. It looks like a working space.
Yeah, it's a working space. This is pretty predictable. Digital's super predictable. Paper is completely unpredictable. You have no idea where it's going to go. I'm hand making all my chemicals. I'm doing all this stuff to the paper that could, in fact, just leave it nothing.
Right?
I even do this one thing. It's called the sacrifice print. So every shoot I do a sacrifice print. And the sacrifice print gets processed in the developer. It gets rinsed, but never fixed. And it's just thrown. Either on the floor, wherever it lands, face down, face up, it's just laid there until the next morning. And I usually do this at night. And the next morning I come in and I scan it, which will leave it pretty much black by that point. Because overnight, things are gonna start happening and I have no idea what's gonna happen to it.
Right.
So the whole series of my sacrifice prints are amazing because they're happy accidents. They're things that I can't plan. I can't
accidents.
come up with.
Oh, I love it.
And that is where the magic is. That's what I love. And it's just like, holy crap. Well, these are just, they're just the pins that we write the story with. But if we don't have the ideas, we don't have the story, like, again, none of this matters. So I just come up with stories that needs a certain pin. And all these have their place. Like, I used to think there was one camera that would do everything. That was kind of my, like, I just want that system because it's gonna do everything for me. That doesn't exist. For
Right.
me anyway, it doesn't exist. All the stuff that I do, I can't have one camera.
And you've
They
been
all have
doing
their
this for
place.
so long that you've been able to collect your
Yes.
tools.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
they're your
can't-
paintbrushes,
Yeah,
your-
I can't afford to just go out and do this. Of course, a lot of this is old junky gear anyway, you know? It's like people give it away. They're like, I don't even know what this is for.
It's because they don't
Here.
know the value of it. They don't know what
Yeah.
to do with it. And then
Yeah.
you do these works of art that are so remarkable because
Yeah.
you know what to do with it.